Hi everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk with Atia. Today I have a very interesting guest from Intel, John Stewart. You are the Global Technical Sales Director for Cloud and Data Analytics. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Glad to be here. I've been hiring a new team of cloud solution architects. It's kind of crazy, right?
Right.
What is Intel doing hiring cloud solution architects? I have to sell the candidates why they want to come join Intel. So
right.
Hey, we've got a good story, and I'm ready to dig into it.
Awesome, cool. Well, it's really great to have you here, and we're just going to spend 10 minutes together digging a little bit into the whole journey that I think Intel has been doing over the last few years, and touching on the pandemic, and I think that's probably on all of our minds right now, and it's created sort of an urgent need for companies and governments to accelerate their whole digital transformation journey. How does Intel see that trend going globally?
Yeah, absolutely. Crazy times that we're living in right now.
Right.
I have a global role, and I used to do a lot of traveling.
Sure.
And I basically haven't traveled, since January of 2020.
Right.
Yeah, but here I am now in Europe. So
now
I'm traveling for the first time. So it feels great to be out.
Perfect.
As I mentioned, I've been hiring a team, a new team of cloud solution architects. I did it all over Teams, all over Zoom video.
Yeah.
I'd never met them. Now I'm able to meet them as I'm going through country by country. It's great.
It's kind of surreal, right?
It's very surreal, yeah. But it shows it can work, I hired a really amazing team, and now that I'm meeting them in person, oh my God, they're even better in person, But COVID has affected us all, obviously. It's been interesting from an Intel perspective, what is the impact of COVID on Intel's business? Because we see it in various areas. First of all, more people are working from home.
Right.
So our laptop and desktop sales have been going, through the roof. It's been interesting. Our PC business has been fairly flat, but in the last year or so, we've seen a spike in demand. More and more workers are working from home, right? They're doing virtual desktop, things like this. So we're seeing that in our business, but also in the cloud, right? More and more people are using cloud services for their daily lives. So we're seeing an increased demand in the cloud, which means more processors sold to the hyperscalers.
Exactly.
So COVID has impacted all of our lives, in various ways. Mostly not great, but because everyone's staying at home, they're using more of the cloud services. So we are seeing an impact there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm sure that's true for the whole global market. But if you look at, opportunity-wise, what opportunities are these technology forces creating for the users specifically then? What's the end game?
Yeah, so, I think even before COVID, companies were looking at how to transform themselves, becoming more agile, moving to the cloud. Companies are generating vast amounts of data that some are using it better than others, but everybody wants to figure out how to use more of their data.
Right.
And this is really where Intel has pivoted our company. Like I said, we used to just be a PC company. And now, of course, we have a big data center and cloud business.
Yeah, no, that's exactly.
And now really it's how do we help customers make use of their data? So really focusing on analytics and AI machine learning. And, really how do you bring this data, into the cloud in a secure way, in a compliant way? How do you process that data and make it available for analytics and machine learning? These are the huge opportunities that we're seeing in the cloud.
Would you say that it's fair to say that the pandemic has forced Intel to being a cloud-based company then? Or
I think it's accelerated it. So we were a cloud-based company, but I do think the pandemic has accelerated everybody's strategies into becoming more of a cloud company, or how to use the cloud better for their business and to stay competitive.
Zooming in on the public cloud, then there is this idea that the public cloud is all about abstracting hardware. How important is the underlying hardware technology in the public cloud when CXOs talk about embracing the cloud? How does that play out in your book?
No, it's a great question. I would say, though, that companies are really trying to go to the cloud for business agility, better insights from their data, et cetera, rather than trying to abstract the hardware. I don't know if that's really a business goal. It's something that happens, though, in the move to the cloud.
Yeah, it's more of a means to an end.
It is.
Yeah.
And as we see the hyperscalers start to develop their managed services, their PaaS services, et cetera, some of the underlying hardware can be abstracted, right?
Yeah.
But this is exactly where the team that Intel is putting in place is to address the abstraction that's happening in the cloud. And what we're finding for the first time really is that the underlying hardware instances, both the type and the shape of those instances, is very impactful on the workload, which is impactful on the business drivers at that account, namely performance, cost, security, additional use cases which can be brought to the cloud.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, we're starting to look at sustainability as well. Like how can we actually help lower carbon footprint as workloads move to the cloud? So these are all the business drivers that we're trying to benchmark and optimize workloads and show the value of Intel even in the cloud and show this to end customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I were discussing earlier on the importance of cloud economics as well.
Yes.
And this is an area where ITIA is actually providing a service. We call it cloud intelligence service and stuff like that. But how do you see Intel embracing all of the whole cloud economics perspective of the consumption that we're seeing?
Incredibly important topic, as customers move to the cloud, as we talked, and as when I talk to customers, sometimes their bill skyrockets, and and that is a goal too, right? Not just agility and better insights, but looking at how they can manage their cost or even reduce costs as they evacuate their data centers. And right now, sometimes it's surprising to see how expensive it is to move to the cloud. So by applying some principles, using tools like your service, is really helpful in helping optimize the workloads on the cloud, addressing cost, basically.
Absolutely.
What Intel is doing is partnering with these types of tooling to add even a layer on top of that, to look at how you could further optimize by workload, delivering better performance and lowering your cost.
Right.
So
that's really interesting. I think you and I could probably talk about this for hours.
We could. We don't want to bore the audience for that.
Right. No, exactly. But if we were to sort of, in closing, what would should the market expect from Intel in the near and far future? I mean, if you talk about roadmaps, basically, because that's what it is. How do you see that?
So, Intel, to be candid with you, Intel, we kind of were, I wouldn't say lost our way, but, we had some issues with our silicon roadmap and with our manufacturing.
Right.
Really excited about where Intel is going. We have a new CEO, Pat Gelsinger, has come back on board.
Oh, Pat is a great guy.
Pat is amazing. Right. And immediately we're investing in additional fab capacity, which is how we manufacture our chips, addressing the chip shortage. So this is a big strategy for Intel moving forward, is to invest more in manufacturing and in our process technology. So that's really exciting. But also when you look at our architecture roadmap, it's very exciting as well. So we will continue to evolve our Xeon processor, right? We're at Ice Lake, with the Sapphire Rapids, but also we're adding other types of compute. So we have FPGA, we've already acquired that.
Right.
But we have GPU coming out soon. We have AI accelerators.
Oh, yeah.
And we have what we call IPU, which is a way to distribute the compute onto smart NICs, et cetera, like this. So it's really exciting where we're going with the architecture of our compute, also with our memory as well. So, so it's exciting times for Intel, with our architecture roadmaps as well as our manufacturing roadmap.
Absolutely. I think you touched on a few subjects here. I mean, AI, for example, and all of the stuff you're doing with GPUs and compute acceleration and stuff like that. That's something that we can cover probably for another 20 minutes.
Let's set up another time for that, for a chat on that.
But we're running out of time, so I just want to say thank you, John, for coming to see us and having this session with me. And thank you for attending the Tech Talk.
Thank you. And we're excited to work with ITIA. I think the exchange we had earlier, right? Boy, it's really interesting to see how well connected you are to your customers and your knowledge of the region and of the public sector companies and what they can and cannot do on cloud. So I think it'll be a really interesting partnership between the two companies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. And thank you guys for attending the Tech Talk with ITIA today. And stay tuned for more episodes going forward.